everyone, and welcome back to the cave. Today we're going to be doing something that I haven't done for a while. We're going to be doing a video takedown, so let's bring down the screen, go grab yourself some popcorn or something, because this one's going to take a while. So roll the credits. So today we've got a video from back in March, so it's about a month or so out of date, but not really, covering the whole trans issue, the trans rights, transgenders, etc., and so on. So without any more further ado, let's get this one going.
Well, the presenter of the BBC radio programme Women's Hour has sparked controversy after writing an article which appeared to question whether transgender women are real women. Presenter Dame Jenny Murray said transgender women had grown up with all the privilege of being a man, but didn't have the shared experience of growing up female.
The privilege of being a man. So this male privilege that is supposedly so amazingly brilliant, and all these women are so infuriated about these men who have male privilege. Yet you find these men and lots of other men who want to transition into being a female. So obviously this male privilege isn't quite all that it's cut out to be, I would think.
Joined now by the feminist activist Julie Bindel and Jane Fay, a writer and campaigner on lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender issues. Julie, to you first. Is being a woman an experience or a matter of genetics?
Neither. I never use the term real woman because I don't feel that I'm a real woman. I've no idea what it feels like to be a woman. It's a social construct that's been imposed upon girls as we grow up. So what I would say is gender is imposed upon us. It's a rule that harms women and benefits men, and biological sex is a material reality. So I am a...
So gender is something imposed upon you that harms women but benefits men. How exactly does that work? I'm really not sure how that works, especially now that there's 193 billion, zillion, quadrillion genders. So who exactly is being benefited? There's more genders now than there are people on the earth.
Woman, and the reason why I say this vehemently is because as a feminist, we have to recognise that men have power over us in every structure of life.
How so? As a feminist, what you should be saying is, we have done everything that we have wanted to do. We are now equal to men. The only thing that differs is the amount of effort that each individual wants to put in to better themselves. The amount of effort put in, the better the result.
And we are raped and murdered and we are paid less than men because we are women.
Oh, the wage gap, eh? Nah, I think I'll leave this one to Shoe on Head to take care of.
The wage gap is simply the average earnings of men and women working full-time. It does not count for different job positions, hours worked, or different jobs. It has nothing to do with the same job. It has nothing to do with discrimination.
So I would refute the notion of real woman because that just sounds too essentialist.
So let's remove the real from the
Yes.
statement. But are transgender people women?
No.
Are transgender people women? No. That's a little bit simplified. If you're a female to male trans person, then yes, you are a woman, you were born a woman, you will die a woman, you just spend a portion of your life mimicking being a man. If you're male to female, then you will be born a man, you'll die a man, and you will spend a portion of your life mimicking being a woman.
No, because if you are looking at the experience of growing up a girl, And if you then become a woman, you have had various, all over the world, wherever we are, we've had the fear and reality of men's violence, of men's supremacy, of men's power. So when you...
Women are never violent. Women have never had supremacy or power. I think Theresa May and Margaret Thatcher might like to say something about that.
come to self-identification when you have been raised a boy and raised a man, despite the countless and endless problems you would have as being transgender or gay or whatever when it resists the norm, then you bring all that experience with you. And
yes, you bring all that experience with you, and that experience is supposed to be lived. Adversity sucks when you're going through it, yeah. Nobody really likes it when they're in the middle of it. But adversity and problems and struggles and challenges in your life are what build your character. They're what turn you into the person who you ultimately end up being. What you seem to be advocating for here is an easy life. Give me an easy life where I never have to face anything that bothers me ever, and I will grow up to be perfect. No, you'll grow up to be what we're seeing a lot of now with these leftist SJWs over in the United States, entitled little shits who don't know fuck all about the world and expect everything to just be handed to them.
identification is fine. I sit here with Jane. I'm perfectly happy to use the pronoun she. Jane is sitting here identifying as a woman. It is not the same as experiencing girlhood and the oppression of growing up as a woman.
Well,
That's true. If you don't grow up as a woman, you can't appreciate what it's like to grow up as a woman. You don't get all of the struggles that are unique to females that happen during puberty. The first period, the growing of breasts, the learning to how to negotiate those awkward relationships that we have as teenagers with our first crushes and our first boyfriends and girlfriends. All that sort of stuff, you just don't experience. You experience that from the other side of the coin, from the other side of the fence.
see what Jane thinks about that. I mean, Jane, does someone who did grow up a man really know what it is to be a woman?
It's to be a woman with different experience.
That's actually a damn good answer. This person will know that they can never actually be a woman. The best they can do is live their life as one, mimic being one, but they will never actually truly be female. The chromosomes, the DNA, all of the body chemistry, the brain structure, and so on are all male. You can retrain some of those instincts, you can alter your body, you can change some of your chemistry, but you are still a male who is mimicking or adopting the secondary sexual traits of a female. And fair play to those who go through it and who take the hormones and go through all of the therapies and everything else and do make the effort. I have absolutely no reason, no problem with calling them she. That leaves the caveat of people like Riley Dennis and the transgenders who say, well, I want to be a woman, but I'm going to do none of the effort. I'll just put on some winged eyeliner and demand that you call me she, even though I'm not willing to do much of anything at all to live my life as a female.
And you grow up as you grow up. And I was fascinated. I mean, we're going to start with a little bit of agreement here, saying that neither of us think the term real woman is a very helpful phrase at all.
That is actually right. What is a real woman? Is Mercedes Carrera a real woman? Is Amy Schumer a real woman? Let's go to different ends of the same spectrum. Is the girl who lives next door a real woman? Is your 57-year-old aunt a real woman? They've all got different body shapes. They've all got different lived experiences. What defines real? So yeah, removing real from the debate whether this is trans or whether it's just about women in general, is only ever going to be helpful. That is just setting a standard that nobody will ever achieve.
Jenny Murray started out with an introduction saying, well, she's not like these radical feminists, not like Julie Bindel, because she's married and she's in a heterosexual relationship, which sounded strikingly like she was going down the road of saying, well, if you're not going out with a man, you're not a real woman.
But she didn't.
No, she's just not a fourth wave intersectional social justice feminist. She's one of the older generation of feminism, probably the third wave, maybe even possibly the second, where it wasn't an us versus them mentality. Back then, feminists were about achieving equality. It wasn't about divide and conquer like it is with the fourth wave intersectional stuff. So, yeah, she's not like other feminists, she's saying, assuming that we all understand that other feminists mean fourth wave intersectional, complete batshit crazy feminist.
That she called for respect and protection from bullying and violence and equality
absolutely.
for all.
I think the real issue, and if that is the case, then that is problematic in terms of what she said, because she's not daft. She knows that she is setting her hair running. If she doesn't want there to be bullying, if she doesn't want there to be stuff, I regard the debate about is there a real womanity, is there a real masculinity, as problematic, because it sets people apart, it creates categories, and it's a problematic debate that we're having in society. We've got, are you a real Brit? Are you really disabled? Are you really this? Are you really that? It creates categories, but what it does do...
Yeah, creating categories is what the left seem to like to do. They like everybody to have little boxes that they can be conveniently put in, so that way they can make their batshit crazy arguments and just go and pick up a box, dump it on the floor and say, look, this is what I'm talking about. Now, right back in your box until we need you again.
Is it sets off, people hear real, they also hear, are you right? And that is what I've heard over the past. When people say, you're not real, you're not right, that has actually been actual prelude to someone trying to attack me.
I can understand that. That does actually make sense. You're not right, you. It implies some sort of mental deficiency, some sort of abhorrence, some sort of, like you're looking at an axe murderer, a psychopath, and going, you're not right, you. I'm just moving the hell away from you. And I can see how that would then result in, because it's an aggressive thing to say. There's no way that you can say that and not come off as being aggressive, at which point the fight or flight thing takes in and you either fight or you run away. Yeah, I think a lot of that has probably got to do with some of the situations that this person has put themselves in where that has been said as well, though. I don't think that isn't always the case thing.
In other words, the two elide.
Well, I mean, feminists have been blamed for the election of Trump, for the deaths of trans teenagers, for all kinds of bigoted attacks on trans people that actually are also, my enemies are Jane's enemies. You know, women know fine well what bigotry is. We experience all kinds of violence, and 2 of us are killed every single, week in this country.
Trotting out the usual feminist statistics that have long since been debunked, so I'm not going to do them here. I'm pretty sure that if any of you have ever seen any anti-feminist video or any anti-SJW video, you're well aware of those statistics. But to say that feminists were responsible for the election of Trump, no, that's not true at all. There were 2 reasons for that. 1, Hillary Clinton was not a candidate who had policies that people could get behind. Hillary Clinton's main policy was my vagina. And also the levels of corruption, plus the fact that the American public were tired of establishment running the thing, so they wanted somebody who was just going to shake shit up. So they elected Trump. It probably, well, it might have made a difference if it wasn't Hillary running against him, but we were due for this person to come along to shake things up anyway. If it hadn't been Trump, it would have been somebody else in 2020. Or maybe 2024. But we would do one anyway. It just so happened that Trump came this time around and went, yep, we're going for that.
because of domestic violence. So we all know what bigotry is. But Jenny Murray hasn't set off any hair running, Jane. This is a debate that has a McCarthyite, a nasty McCarthyite bent to it. We are not allowed as feminists anymore to say gender is a social construct. It's not real. Gender isn't in the brain. There is no male brain and female brain.
But there is a male brain and a female brain. Ask the neurologists, ask the doctors, ask the people who spent years learning about this and years studying it, and they will tell you that there are differences between the male and the female brain.
We are not innately drawn to pink if we're girls and trucks and climbing trees if we're boys. And
Maybe not, but due to the nature of the way our brain produces impulses, hormones, and all that sort of stuff, as we grow, boys are generally more filled with energy, more inclined to adventure, and girls are generally, when left to their own devices, more inclined to nesting. This has been studied numerous times and proven numerous times, so that is not exactly true.
the transgender orthodoxy that we're not allowed to dispute anymore lest we get fired from our jobs or no platformed, as I've been, is crazy. It's saying that a penis is a female body part if it's on a trans woman. Now,
that is ridiculous. A penis is not a female body part, because if a penis is on a trans woman, well, one, it's on a trans woman. A trans woman is, technically speaking, by definition, a trans woman is neither male nor female. They are translating between the two. So they're kind of in a limbo land, if you want to get really technical about it. But a penis is a male body part. This trans woman just happens to have started life as male.
oh, because we are oppressed by our biology, because we have unwanted pregnancies,
Oppressed by your biology? Fuck off.
can't get access to abortion, are raped and abused countless, endless times by men.
And women don't abuse men? Seriously? You're playing the card that, but the women's, we never do nothing wrong. It's always them nasty, horrible men.
We know what oppression is, and we have to say that
You know what oppression is? You know what oppression is. I'm sure you haven't looked in your cupboard going, fuck, there's nothing in the house for a week until I get paid again. That is a bit more oppressive than what you've been through. We live in Western society. We're not in the United States here. This is from the UK. But even still, the UK live in one of the most comfortable times in human history, where we really do want for nothing. And you're trying to claim oppression.
female biology matters, and we cannot start using terms like chest feeding and pregnant people because it denies
Not because it denies anything, because it's just plain stupid. Chest feeding. The fuck?
the experience of an oppressed people. I could not say today that because I've always felt black, I am black, and then tell a black person that they're wrong and oppressing me for saying I'm not black.
No, you can't. You can ask people, maybe, if they're willing to play along with your delusion, but most people are going to go, now, fuck off, whitey. And they're just going to go, you're nuts. No, you're not black. You can pretend you are as much as you like, but I ain't buying it.
It's the same
It's an absolute
issue.
straw man.
There is somebody who has done that, Rachel.
And she's been monstered.
Done that.
She has been monstered, and yet Caitlyn Jenner is seen as a hero.
Caitlyn Jenner is seen as a hero. Caitlyn Jenner won Man of the Year, and I can't remember what stream it was on. But somebody's live stream, it was actually Stephen Crowder. He was talking to somebody, and on his live stream, this guest said, and I've got this friend that said, so Caitlyn Jenner won Woman of the Year. How could she win Woman of the Year, though? She hadn't even been a woman for a full year at that point. It's leftist lunacy that is driving a lot of this, and we just need to start pulling common sense back out of it and just sweeping the bullshit out of the room and into the gutter where it belongs.
Jay, can I ask you?
Go
You know,
on,
before we did discuss this today, it was something I have to say that I felt uncomfortable talking about, because you do find whenever you do talk about transgender issues, in terms of terminology, it's very. I find it very easy, and I consider myself to be, you know, entirely unenlightened and unprejudiced. Very easy to use wrong terminology. It is a debate that a lot of people shy away from.
Yeah, a lot of people do shy away from it, and with very good reason. You get one little word wrong, and all hell breaks loose. The recent Twitter and YouTube debacle concerning Blair White, Theron Meyer, and a few others who have been dotted in and out is a perfect example of that. Blair White didn't say anything that was factually wrong. Trans women are not actually women. What trans women are is men who are pretending to be women. Well, even pretending isn't the right word. It is so easy to get wrong. They're not women. They're just assuming the social roles, the physical appearance as best as they can, the chemical construction of their body, and various other things in order to mimic what a biological woman is. And Blair got a hell of a lot of shit for saying that. And I've got no doubt I'll probably get a hell of a lot of shit for saying it as well. But tell me that it is actually wrong. Tell me that even if they go through the whole surgical procedure and they have the wedding tackle chopped off and turned inside out and turned into a vagina, they're still a man. They've just had plastic surgery to make their penis not look like a penis anymore. They've turned it inside out, but they still have so many of the male chemical and physical markers in their biology that they can never actually be a female. They can get pretty damn close as far as an approximation goes, but they never will actually be. And it's a very dangerous subject because you've got so many sensitive snowflakes who are willing to jump on anything that goes against the narrative.
Because very often you can receive a great deal of abuse from talking about it. Do you not think that we need to be, in order to promote understanding of transgender issues, it needs to be something that we can all talk about a lot more freely?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Absolutely. If we can talk about it, the problem that you have is that so many of these debates become debates about people's right to exist. That's...
I might sit here and I might, well, not exactly parrot, but I might agree with people like Blair White that say that no matter how much you transition, you are still the sex you were born as. You always will be, and you'll die that way. You'll just do as best an approximation of the opposite sex as you can. And people are going to get mad at that. And it's just one of those things that is always going to happen. And we need to remove some of the sensitivity away from it so that we can actually get to the real issues instead of getting stuck on the semantics.
That's where they go. I know you're
Not
saying,
from
no,
feminists, it's not.
No, and I'm not making the accusation, and nor am I, you know, again, you're saying that we're having a go at feminists. It's not having a go at feminists. I'm having problems with one particular set of comments, because the way the news cycle goes is one person goes out there, says, I'm saying something really different and strange and original, and it's not different and strange. We've heard this time and time and time again, and then they claim to be being shut down.
Every single person.
The whole thing about trying to say that we don't want trans people to exist, or they shouldn't exist, or anything like that. Yeah, I will concede that there are probably a small percentage of people out there. In the Western world, you go into the Middle East and it's probably a hell of a lot higher. But in the Western world, yeah, there's going to be a small amount that are going to say, yeah, these people are an abomination and should not exist. But the extremely vast majorities in the high 90 percentiles have absolutely no problem with trans people. You do your life, I'll do my life. I don't maybe particularly agree with your life, but I do agree that it's your right to live it however you see fit. I don't want to be a part of it, and that's all fine. That is not the same thing as saying you have no right to exist. And there are not many people out there who are actually coming out and saying, you have got no right to exist. And the people making these arguments are certainly not saying you have no right to exist.
person, every single feminist, not bigots, not nutheads, every single feminist who dare, and I can count them all, unfortunately, here and now within this news item, who has dared to say, hold on, gender is a social construct. There's no male brain or female brain. You can't just turn up with a penis and a beard and say, I'm a woman and I demand you listen to me.
No, you can't turn up with a penis and a beard and say, I'm a woman and I demand you listen to me. You can't turn up with a vagina and no beard and say, I'm a woman and demand you listen to me. You have to have an idea. You have to have a thought process, and you have to have the willingness to back it up. Nobody deserves the right to be listened to. Everybody deserves the right to speak, but to demand that you be heard above anybody else is just wrong. Everybody will speak or not speak depending on the validity and the merit of their argument. If you've got a shit argument, you can't demand to walk up and demand to speak and take the place away from somebody who has got a valid argument. Or maybe you can, and your shit argument will be laughed out of the building. But either way, to demand that you be privileged as far as the ability to speak above somebody else, no, that's not how it works. Everybody has a level playing field as far as that goes, or they should.
Every time we say this, while still respecting the rights of trans people, while standing in front of you to ward off the bullies, because they're the same ones that go for me, every time we say this, we are no-platformed, pilloried, and we are at risk of losing our jobs.
No,
and
you're
it's
not.
good.
You are not.
Yes, we are.
No,
Julie.
you're not.
You've seen
Julie,
it's happened to
Julie,
me.
I have
and
seen
you've
this
seen
happen-
it's
no.
now happened to Jenny Murray. There's
Unless
a
you're
petition
using-
out for her to lose
Right.
her job at the BBC for saying a man isn't a woman.
The people behind the petition for her to lose her job at the BBC, I dare say, are the lunatic left. Just like they're behind every petition for anybody to lose their job ever for saying something that goes against the narrative. It's the lefties that you need to be worried about here, not the right. The extreme far right, yeah, maybe, because they're just as bad as the left, but your centrists and your conservative right and all the rest of that, they're just normal people, and they're just, yeah, say your shit, get it out your system. I'll either agree or I'll disagree, but then we'll both go on and carry on with our day, and it's no skin off anybody else's nose. The people who are trying to hound people out of jobs are the far left and the far right, the SJWs, the intersectional feminists. They're the ones who are responsible for that. It's actually the extreme of your own side, Julie, who are the ones who are doing this.
Two responses, Julie. First of all, unless you're using the royal we, you have been no-platformed. But beyond that, the
And
actual
several
incidents...
of my feminist colleagues,
actual
every one
incidents
who
has
said
also,
it.
hasn't she? Jermaine Greer also.
Jermaine Greer,
Well,
Sarah Dighton. There
No,
have been
Jermaine-
several feminists
Sarah
who have
Jermaine
been...
hasn't. But can I just say, this newsroom has sort of no platform Jermaine Greer. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. And producers out there listening, producer, I'm not going to go there.
Well,
I
we
said,
haven't,
can I...
as far as I'm aware, at Sky News.
Allow me to explain this.
Say
I
that.
said, can I actually repeat some of what Jermaine Greer has said on public platforms? And I was asked what. I just said, no.
Because
But-
she swears. Because she's
Yes, I know.
Australian. and
Okay,
uses
she's
very-
Australian,
very
she swears.
crude words.
But
and Tracy almost
it's Jenny Murray's comments that we're talking about today.
Yes,
though,
we
isn't
are.
it?
But Julie will bring this out into all feminists.
I
that
know,
are being
but Jenny
shut down.
Murray is, you know, she's a national treasure. Jenny Murray is a fairly liberal feminist. I hope she'll forgive me for saying this. She isn't a radical. What she has said is, look, you can't just rock up when you're 60 years old, like Caitlyn Jenner has said, has done, and say, I'm a woman, and then have trans activists say, she's always been a woman. What, even when she was running
Julie,
and
this-
earning millions and using male privilege?
Okay.
Really?
We haven't got long.
Very good point there, though. Oh, yes, she's always been a woman. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when she was Bruce Jenner running in the Olympics, that was the very last thing on her mind. Bruce may have been unhappy with his sexuality, or maybe even unhappy with his body, because unhappiness with your body is fairly common in athletes. It's part of what drives them to keep improving themselves and to get better at what they do, is the unhappiness of where they are now. Perhaps Bruce, his unhappiness took a slightly more worrying direction than your average athlete. I don't know. I don't know Bruce stroke Caitlyn. I don't know them personally, so I couldn't tell you whether that's true or not. But I suspect that may be the case.
So please, Jane, answer.
This is cherry picking. The point is, yes, you will find, as we both know, you will find people on both sides who take quite extreme positions. Just for the record, I do not think Jenny Murray should be sacked or anything of the sort. I do think that it raises questions, because I know from the past that there are trans people who are scared of actually doing an interview with her. No, that is absolutely genuine, and it raises. Well, you say it's ridiculous. Are you going to tell me? No, you're going to tell me now.
Women face all kinds of violence and threats.
Yes,
you're
they
frightened
do.
of being in a studio with Jenny Murray. You don't know you're born. You don't.
This is now Jane Fay is going against the narrative, and Julie Bindel has to step in and shut her down with whatever she can figure out how to come out of her mouth to derail the argument totally before a valid point that she can't simply dismiss and argue away comes out. This is what you've just seen there.
I don't know you're born.
So you're very happy if a male presenter says that they don't think that certain domestic violence victims are real victims. You're quite happy for them to carry on interviewing domestic.
Of course I am, because they'll refute it and they'll use facts and logic to knock that argument down. They're not going to kill us on.
Facts and logic to knock that argument down, but it's a different thing when men use facts and logic to debunk the bullshit that comes out of your mouth, isn't it? You can't have it both ways. You can't have facts and logic when it suits you, but when it goes against what you're saying, oh no, that's just mansplaining. Come on, the mental gymnastics and the duplicity is just rife, and you're showing you're ugly.
Set. Jenny Murray's not going to strangle a trans person
but
in
what
the
is
studio.
it creates a difficulty when you're carrying out an interview if you feel that you have got a hostile interviewer, which I don't
Then
feel
let's
here.
never be interviewed by anyone that disagrees with us. I
No,
will
it's
never
got
be interviewed
nothing
again.
Okay.
And that would be no bad thing that you're never interviewed again. The whole point of going for an interview is that, well, it should be, that you're going into an interview with somebody who is going to question your talking points, your ideals, your beliefs, and make you account for them, make you defend them, make you explain them, make it make sense to the unwashed masses, and that sort of stuff. I mean, yes, some interviewers are quite intimidating. Jeremy Paxman is the first example that comes off in my head. Others are a bit more laid back and they make you feel a bit more comfortable. Dave Rubin being an example of that. But yeah, I can see how some people might be intimidated by certain interviewers and not want to go on, especially if it's a trans person who isn't entirely comfortable yet with the body that they're in, with their transition, because in some cases you can look like the sex that you want to become, but you can still be getting comfortable with yourself as a human being. Never mind a human being that's altered yourself so drastically. So I can understand why certain people would not want to be in with some of these more, prickly interviewers.
Okay. Well, it's good to talk to you both, and good to hear both, and good to hear both, and good to hear.
Oh my God, the lizard people. Okay, I think that's it for that. Like I say, that one's a month or so old now, but it just seems like the same old talking points, the same old bullshit is coming out again, and instead of mansplaining or manspreading or the usual feminist topics, we're now in the trans thing because trans seems to be the new cool topic. I don't know why, it's always been there. Before the last couple of years, people just, oh yeah, that person's a trans. And people are like, oh, that's a bit worrying. I think I'll choose to be friends with somebody else. Or they go, oh, okay, they're just doing them. So long as they're a decent person, I've got no problem. But of course, the left, like everything else, have to grab onto something, shove it in people's faces, and make it into far more of an issue than it actually really needs to be. I mean, I'm not going to deny that trans acceptance is a thing, and there is absolutely no reason why, as people, we shouldn't be willing to accept people, whatever they choose to want to be. So long as they're decent people, you can be a giant blue kitten and walk around in a furry suit all day, but so long as you're a decent person, yeah, you might be a bit of a weirdo, but you're still okay. It's when you decide to be an asshole that people are really going to have a problem with you. Well, that's about it for this one. This one's gone a little bit longer than my usual ones, but this was like a 10-minute video, so it was going to take a bit of time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again next time. Thanks for joining me here and watching my video. If you liked what you saw here, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons to stay up to date whenever I release new content. If you like my work, then why not help me to continue making content by supporting me on Patreon. Just as little as $1 a month helps me to create new and better content. If that's not your thing, then you can send off a one-off donation via PayPal. The link down in the description will send you off to my tip jar so you can chip in whatever you feel like giving. Failing that, just whitelist me on AdBlock and let YouTube take care of the rest. Also, I'm all over social media, so you can follow me over on Twitter, as well as joining my Discord server and joining in the conversation. If you have a question, why not jump over to my AskFM account and ask me there. I also have a page over on Minds.com where all the coolest creators hang out. And as always, you can find my videos on both YouTube and VidMe. Why not click on the links of one of my previous videos or the little picture of me, which will auto-subscribe you to the channel. Until next time, have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.